afternoon. I'm Anne Asis-Carilo, sitting in for Mai Rodriguez. Today on Newsfeed at noon. A day after House lawmakers ousted VP Sara Duterte, Senate President Cheese Escudero says there will be no impeachment trial during Congress's session break. President Bongbong Marcos extends the term of Police Chief General Romel Marbil by 4 months. A warning from UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres to U.S. President Donald Trump after the American leader called for the permanent relocation of Palestinians in Gaza. And Blackpink officially reuniting this year with a world tour. Thank you for joining us. No impeachment trial will be conducted during the Congress session break. That statement from Senate President Cheese Escudero a day after the House of Representatives impeached Vice President Sara Duterte. But he says a special session is still possible if the president calls for it. Our correspondent, Agatha Gregorio, monitored Escudero's press briefing earlier, and she joins us now for more details. Agatha, what else did the Senate leader say?
Well, Anne, as you said, we may have to wait until after the midterm elections to see Senate action on the impeachment of Vice President Sara Duterte. Escudero says the articles of impeachment must first be presented in plenary. But what we can expect on June 2nd specifically is the discussion on rules of impeachment. According to Escudero, it is likely the Senate Secretariat would draft the rules and send them to senators for input. This is so that when the break is over, issues would have been resolved and lawmakers could go straight to voting. Escudero also said he is almost entirely sure the impeachment trial would cross over to the 20th Congress. The senator said this is possible, citing how in collegial courts, people are not required to file cases again simply because a justice is dismissed. Escudero also said the impeachment court may have to convene even while the Senate is on break if President Bongbong Marcos calls for a special session. However, the lawmaker says that to his knowledge, this is only done for important laws that must be passed. Back to you, Anne.
Now, Agatha, did the Senate president talk about why they did not bring up the impeachment on the last day of plenary yesterday?
Yes, and that's a question a lot of people are asking. And according to Escudero, they need time to study the articles of impeachment. The Senate Secretary in particular has to verify the documents and check the signatures, ensuring that all 215 are wet signatures, as e-signatures are not allowed. Back to you, Anne.
Thank you very much, Agatha Gregorio reporting. The Makabayan bloc in the House of Representatives says there is no reason to delay the impeachment trial against the VP. Let's get more details from Hannah T. Hannah, go ahead.
And the House has dribbled the ball, passed it to the Senate, and now that it's the upper chamber's court, the only thing left to do is dunk it. That is how Makabayan framed their message today as they demand the Senate to immediately convene the impeachment court to try Vice President Sara Duterte. Makabayan says there's no reason to delay as Senate President Cheese Escudero can already inform the House that they're ready to receive the prosecutors and move forward with the process. Representative Franz Castro revealed that even before the impeachment, 80 lawmakers had already signed on to endorse the complaint the night prior. By the time the House session ended, 215 lawmakers, including 41 out of 60 from Mindanao, voted in favor. Makabayan also points to a political shift, saying the winds have changed between the Marcos and Duterte camps, noting Sandro Marcos was first to sign the impeachment complaint. This, they say, signals a weakening alliance between the two political families. But the bigger issue for them now is why the Senate has not taken action. Attorney Neri Colmenares explained that under impeachment rules, once the Senate receives the articles, the trial should begin immediately. Makabayan says there are multiple ways to fast-track the process. One is for Escudero to order the impeachment court to begin even before regular session resumes. Another is for President Bongbong Marcos Jr. to call a special session under the Constitution Constitution. Makabayan calls on Filipinos to closely follow the trial as they warn that pro-Duterte senators will put up a big fight. They also say that if the Senate fails to convict, voters should remember this in the 2025 midterm elections. Anne?
Hannah, Makabayan was one of the groups that pushed for the impeachment in the House, but did they say why they are not part of the panel of prosecutors?
Yes, actually, they said that the panel is composed mostly of lawyers, saying it's important to have congressmen with legal expertise leading the prosecution. But they say they have private prosecutors that includes Attorney Neri Colmenares, Attorney Cristina Conti, and former Representative Carlos Zarate, who can give them legal support. And they also said they will be focusing on a Sara Duterte impeachment watch to monitor every step of the trial. Back to you, Anne.
Thank you very much, Hannah T. reporting. Davao City Congressman Paulo Duterte denounces the impeachment of his sister. He warns of consequences due to what he calls a sham and political persecution. He also condemns what he says is sinister maneuvering in the lower chamber, particularly by Representative Janet Garin, to fast-track the impeachment. Iloilo 1st District Representative Janet Garin denies Paulo Duterte's allegation. Garin tells Bilyonaryo News Channel's Agenda she only informed some of her colleagues who did not know anything about the scheduled caucus yesterday when the impeachment complaint was tackled. The lawmaker adds she cannot simply ignore the strong basis for the articles of impeachment against the vice president and that she is just doing her job.
Ang katotohanan niyan, halos kalamihan ng kongresista ay hindi namin mahindian yung aming constitutional duty. Kasi nung nilatag ang pang-apat na impeachment complaint nito, ay kumpleto, andun yung mga ebidensya nung akusasyon ng betrayal of public trust. So who are we to refuse that? Hindi mo kasi pwedeng pabayaan yan.
Meantime, the legal counsel for the third Duterte impeachment complaint did not mind their bid was archived.
Para naman sa amin, for the third impeachment complaint, it wouldn't matter which complaint will be will be given due force by the Congress. Kasi nga, all of these impeachment complaints have one mission, same objective, that is to have the vice president impeached. So it wouldn't matter. The third set of complainants are elated. We are happy, but we know the hard work.
As for former Chief Presidential Legal Counsel Salvador Panelo, he insists the impeachment is a propaganda meant to destroy Sara Duterte. Panelo, however, says the VP is ready to face the impeachment trial with her father, former President Rodrigo Duterte, on the defense team. Panelo warns about the possible repercussions of the ouster as it counters President Marcos's position against it. He adds only time will reveal whether the president is involved or not in the impeachment.
Tingnan nyo, unang-una, hindi pa malaman kung yung Senado will convene as an impeachment court. Sapagkat maaaring yung iba sa kanila ay mag-aalala na pag tinuloy nila, yung kanilang re-election bid ay magkakadiferensya. So ang tinitingnan ko, baka mag-usap-usap sila na ipagpaliban na lang. Pero ang problema sa pinagpaliban mo yan, aabutin ka ng 1-year ban at ipapile mo na naman sa next year. Kaya lang, from the very start, di ba sinabi ko sa inyo, na ang talagang layunin niya ay propaganda laban kay Inday Sara. And the ultimate goal is to disqualify her sa panguluhan sa 2028 because she is the leading contender. Manalo't matalo sila sa impeachment, siniraan nila si Inday Sara. Yan ang kanilang talagang layunin niya.
President Bongbong Marcos extends the term of National Police Chief General Romel Marbil by 4 months. This will take effect on February 7th, the day he was supposed to retire. Marbil, who is the 30th PNP chief, is a member of the Philippine Military Academy's Sambisig class of 1991. He took command of the top police post on April 1st last year. President Marcos earlier said it will not be good to change the PNP leadership in the middle of an election period. A warning from the chief of the United Nations to U.S. President Donald Trump. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres telling the American leader to avoid ethnic cleansing in Gaza after Trump called for the permanent relocation of Palestinians. The UN has long endorsed a two-state solution to the Israel-Palestine conflict. Palestinians want a state in the West Bank, East Jerusalem, and Gaza Strip, all territory captured by Israel in a 1967 war with neighboring Arab states.
We have no country except Palestine. Gaza is a precious part of it. We are not going to leave Gaza. There is no power on earth that can remove the Palestinian people from our ancestral homeland, including Gaza. We want to rebuild it, we want to put it back together, and we ask all countries to help us in this endeavor and in this regard.
Palestine's envoy U.S. President Donald Trump signs an executive order to exclude transgender girls and women from female-designated sporting competitions. The order directs the U.S. Justice Department to ban transgender girls and women from participating in female school sports. This is Trump's interpretation of a law against sex discrimination in federally funded education programs. Republicans say the move restores fairness, but for critics, it tramples on the rights of a small minority of athletes.
Under the Trump administration, we will defend the proud tradition of female athletes, and we will not allow men to beat up, injure, and cheat our women and our girls. From now on, women's sports will be only for women. With my action this afternoon, we're putting every school receiving taxpayer dollars on notice that if you let men take over women's sports teams or invade your locker rooms, you will be investigated for violations of Title IX and risk your federal funding. There will be no federal funding.
Trans athletes and activists up in arms over Trump's latest order. They say the policy will have an impact on the mental health of the young trans people. They call the move incomprehensible.
For a lot of trans youth out there, it just means, once again, their country's declaring war on them. And this is going to affect people's mental health. I'll admit it's affected mine, and I'm 53 years old. I mean, but for young people coming up, especially for these kids, and especially in middle school and high school, this is very difficult. This is brutal on them. It's harsh on their families, and don't think that this is the end of it.
Today is another example, at the highest level in seat and position and power in the world, watching the new president of the United States articulate complete, utter nonsense and doing complete harm to the most vulnerable communities in his own society within the boundaries of the United States, which will have generational harm.
Sweden's king and queen pay tribute to the victims of the country's worst mass shooting. They visited the education center where 11 people were killed by a gunman, described by police as an unemployed recluse who later shot himself dead. The royals were accompanied by Swedish Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson.
As you can understand, we are here to show our sorrow over what has happened, this terrible atrocity. It is something that one believes would not happen in Sweden. The Queen and I are extremely shocked. The whole family is shocked, as all of Sweden is shocked by the attack that took place here. Of course, I'm thinking about those who died, but above all about their families, their relatives, their loved ones. But I also think they should feel that they are not alone in grieving. Grief work is difficult to do alone, but I think the whole of Sweden sympathizes with those who have experienced this traumatic event.
Turning now to some royal updates in Britain. King Charles explores a Polish community center in London. He walked through an art exhibit and talked to community center members. He also got to try Polish dishes and clothing. Meanwhile, back at the Buckingham Palace, King Charles presented legendary Vogue editor-in-chief Anna Wintour with the Order of the Companions of Honor. And she took off her iconic sunglasses for the special occasion. The honor is granted to those who have made a major contribution to the arts, science, medicine, or government over a long period of time. Only 65 people can be a member of the order at any one time. Its current ranks include Elton John, Paul McCartney, Judi Dench, and Margaret Atwood. We are taking a break. Still to come, the country closed out 2024 with fewer jobless Filipinos. The details when we return. This is Newsfeed at noon. The Transportation Department says there is an ongoing feasibility study by the private sector on how to best improve the EDSA busway. Transport Secretary Jaime Bautista also called the thoroughfare the most efficient public road transport system in Metro Manila. It says the EDSA busway served over 63 million commuters in 2024 alone, averaging 177,000 daily commuters. On Wednesday, MMDA Chair Romando Artes said they are considering the eventual removal of the EDSA busway as part of a proposal to enhance the capacity of the Metro Rail transit system. But he clarified the recommendation was still under study. A band-aid solution to high rice prices. That is how the Kilusang Magbubukid ng Pilipinas considers the Agriculture Department's declaration of food security emergency. On Bilyonaryo News Channel's It's a Beautiful Day, KMP Chairperson Danilo Ramos said there should be genuine agrarian reform, significant subsidy for farmers, and stronger local rice production by repealing the rice tariffication law. He explains other factors that dictate the price of rice.
Alam niyo po ba na pinapayagan ng Department of Agriculture na maglaan ng 5 billion pesos para sa import ng bigas? Imagine, dati po ay mga traders, kartel ang aangkat, ngayon mismong gobyerno. Sa halip na bilhin ang pale sa mga magsasaka, mga rice farmer, at may maibenta. So mali po ang tugon. At kung bakit po may krisis sa bigas at pagkain, mahalaga po dahil sa government policies and program.
Philippine economic managers are reviewing their GDP target for 2025. This comes after the country missed its 6 to 6.5% growth target last year, expanding by just 5.6%. Budget Secretary Amena Pangandaman says their discussion next month will cover the economy's key drivers, including inflation and unemployment, or employment rather, to determine if adjustments need to be made. Meantime, she says there are so far no external risks to the Philippines stemming from the new Trump administration in the U.S. The unemployment rate drops to 3.8% last year. That is lower than the 4.4% recorded in 2023. In December alone, the unemployment rate fell to 3.1% from 3.2% in November. The Philippine Statistics Authority attributes the decrease to the rise in employment in various sectors, including transportation and storage, construction, public administration and defense, and human health and social work activities.
Sa kabilang banda, ang mga subsectors na may pinakamalaking pagbaba sa bilang ng may trabaho o negosyo kung ikukumpara ang Disyembre 2024 sa Disyembre 2023 ay ang mga sumusunod. Agriculture and forestry, may bawas na 1.56 million. Ang malaking pagbaba sa bilang ng employed ay mula sa growing of paddy rice, planting, transplanting, and other related activities. Kasama na rin ang hog farming, growing of corn except young corn or vegetable, at growing of other vegetables, melons, roots, and tubers. Pangalawa, ang manufacturing na may bawas na 387,000, bumaba ang bilang sa manufacture of products of bamboo cane, rattan, and the like, manufacture of veneer sheets, manufacture of plywood, lamin board, particle board, and other panel boards, manufacture of products of leather and imitation leather.
Business groups calling for reforms in the national budget process to ensure greater transparency and accountability. They urge Congress to open the bicameral conference process to the public, as it is currently held behind closed doors. The groups also want lawmakers to prioritize conditional cash transfers through the 4Ps program instead of expanding unconditional aid. They are likewise pushing for the Development Budget Coordination Committee, or DBCC, to hold public deliberations to ensure that government spending reflects the country's real needs. Bilyonaryo Ramon Ang's daughter, Monica Ang Mercado, becomes the new Chief Finance Officer of San Miguel Food and Beverage Incorporated, or SMFB. She replaced longtime CFO and Chief Strategy Officer Ildefonso Alindogan as part of the firm's reshuffle. Ang Mercado is director at SMC and currently chairman at BuildNet Construction Incorporated. She also holds directorship positions at Premier Capital Venture Corporation, QTech Alliance Holdings, and KB Space Holdings, among others. Her brother, John Paul Ang, took over as vice chairman, president, and COO 8 months ago. Up ahead, South Korea becomes the latest country to ban Chinese AI app DeepSeek in government agencies. That and more when Newsfeed at Noon returns. You're back on Newsfeed at Noon. Again, the headlines. A day after House lawmakers ousted VP Sara Duterte, Senate President Cheese Escudero says there will be no impeachment trial during Congress's session break. President Bongbong Marcos extends the term of Police Chief General Romel Marbil by 4 months. A warning from UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres to U.S. President Donald Trump after the American leader called for the permanent relocation of Palestinians in Gaza. And Blackpink officially reuniting this year with a world tour. Yesterday was a historic day for the Philippines as House lawmakers impeached Vice President Sara Duterte. Let's look back at the events in the lower chamber in this report from Zandro Ochona.
The House of Representatives on Wednesday secured enough signatures to impeach Vice President Sara Duterte. During its last session day before going on a break for the elections, 215 members signed a complaint seeking her ouster. This is more than the required one-third signatures of all the members, or at least 102 signatures.
Pursuant to Section 14, Rule 4 of the Rules of Procedures, in impeachment proceedings, the total number of House members who verified and swore before me this impeachment complaint is 215 House members.
This mode of impeachment fast-tracks the usual process, which would require the Committee on Justice to deliberate on its form and substance.
There is a motion.
The House Secretary General left Batasan Pambansa past 4 in the afternoon to personally deliver the signed impeachment complaint to the Senate. 7 articles are cited as grounds for impeachment includes betrayal of public trust, culpable violations of the Constitution, committing high crimes for contracting an assassin and plotting to murder the President, the First Lady, and the Speaker of the House. The 4th complaint also included graft and corruption allegations on Duterte's alleged misuse and malversation of confidential funds appropriated to the office of the Vice President and DepEd. The House also voted on an 11-member House prosecution team, all having law practice background. Iloilo 3rd District Representative Lawrence Defensor, a member of the prosecution team, said he is confident they have a strong case against the VP.
Magandang pagkakataon ito na mailabas ng parehong kampo, ng complainant at ng respondent on the part of the Vice President. It's a chance to also present her evidence why she should not be convicted under this impeachment trial.
Defensor also said he is ready to face former President Rodrigo Duterte, who promised to defend his daughter in the impeachment trial. Zandro Ochona, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
With 100 days to go before the midterm elections, the poll body wants clear guidelines on how the National Police will implement its Oplan Katok campaign, which is aimed at ensuring a gun-free and peaceful election season. Francis Folve reports.
The Philippine National Police and Commission on Elections have officially launched their 100-day operational activities in preparation for the May 12 midterm elections. Present at the event were PNP Chief Police General Romel Francisco Marbil, Armed Forces of the Philippines Chief of Staff General Romeo Bronner Jr., and COMELEC spokesperson Attorney John Rex Lodianco, representing Chairman George Erwin Garcia, who attended the COMELEC en banc session. The PNP and COMELEC showcased their readiness for the elections. The COMELEC also demonstrated the technology and voting machines that will be used in the polls. However, they acknowledge that alongside modern technology comes the challenge of misinformation and fake news. They are also closely monitoring possible vote buying incidents. Representatives from various agencies took an oath and signed a solidarity pact to ensure clean, orderly and peaceful 2025 national and local elections, including the parliamentary elections for the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao or BARM. According to AFP Chief of Staff General Romeo Bronner Jr., the military will deploy troops nationwide, especially in BARM, to support the security measures set by the PNP.
Halos lahat po ng areas ay magdideploy ang Armed Forces of the Philippines dahil tutulungan po natin. We are deputized by COMELEC to assist in the national elections. Ang mga nandun po sa front lines ay yung mga police natin, pero yung Armed Forces of the Philippines ay tutulong po in terms of making sure that our polling centers are secure at tutulong rin po tayo dun sa pagpuksa ng mga PAGs na tinatawag natin yung private armed groups.
Bronner also stated that the AFP and PNP are working to meet the March 31 deadline to dismantle private armed groups. Meanwhile, the Commission on Elections clarified that it does not intend to interfere with the PNP's efforts to ensure a peaceful election. However, COMELEC spokesperson John Rex Lodianco said Oplan Katok remains under discussion.
Sinasabi naman po ni Chairman Garcia na naunawaan po namin yung intensyon ng PNP. Kaya lang nga po, ang pahayag po niya, kailangan siguro madagdagan ng safeguards para masiguro na hindi po maaabuso yung ganitong pamamaraan. So ngayon po, tuloy-tuloy yung pag-uusap ng PNP at ng COMELEC para po magkaroon ng common ground, magkaroon ng common stand, maipatupad yung mandato ng PNP and at the same time, magawa po ito ng makakatulong sa ating halalan.
Earlier, PNP Chief General Romel Marbil said that Oplan Katok would proceed as planned. He explained that the PNP only visits select individuals, particularly gun owners with expired licenses. The goal is to curb the spread of loose firearms. The police force will use these newly acquired vehicles to secure the forthcoming elections. Over 300 million pesos worth of newly purchased motorcycles and police vehicles were also blessed on Wednesday morning. Meanwhile, the local absentee voting for police officers, military personnel, Coast Guard, firefighters, BJMP officers, and teachers serving in the elections has been set. Applications will run until March 7. With less than 100 days to go before Election Day, authorities assure the public that all's ready for the polls. Francis Polbe, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Access to Chinese AI app DeepSeek now banned in several government agencies in South Korea due to security concerns. The Defense Ministry has blocked DeepSeek on its computers, while the Industry Ministry restricted employee access. Earlier this month, the state-run Korea Hydro and Nuclear Power also blocked the use of AI services, including DeepSeek, while the Foreign Ministry restricted access to the app in computers that connect to external networks. The ban makes South Korea the latest government to warn about DeepSeek. Both the U.S. and Australia are also looking into the app's security implications. A minor mishap at Seattle-Tacoma Airport. The right wing of a Japan Airlines jet clips the tail of a Delta Airlines plane while both were taxiing. The FAA paused some flights to the airport because of the accident. There were no reports of injuries. An investigation is underway. U.S. lawmakers join hundreds of protesters outside the Capitol. They're outraged by the Trump administration's decision to put all directly hired employees of USAID on leave and recall thousands of personnel working overseas. The lawmakers called on protesters to continue their support for USAID.
We are witnessing in real time the most corrupt bargain in American history. Elon Musk paid over $250 million to help elect Donald Trump. And now Donald Trump is turning over the keys to the Treasury and the rest of the federal government to Elon Musk. We need to end this illegal power grab, and we are going to do it now. We are not going back.
USAID's workforce totals more than 10,000, with about two-thirds serving overseas. We're taking another breather. Up ahead, Blackpink officially announces their comeback world tour this year. Entertainment and sports up next.
Gustong-gusto ko yung ginawa niya sa Gusto ko yung ginawa niya yung stand niya dun sa education for the school. You're familiar with that? Yung
You mean the
sinabi niya-
bill, yung
that
Senate Bill
oo.
1979.
1979. Para sinabi niya, wag na yan, yung version na yan, hindi yan papasa, walang kwenta yan. Parang gumanon siya tungkol dun eh. I kind of agree with him at that point. Okay? With that, yun lang ang gusto ko. Sa lahat ng ginagawa niya, para sa akin, kaya ako hindi siya kinikriticize, sa totoo lang, masama ang loob ko. I believe in the unity team eh. I believe in the unity team. I didn't vote for, kumbaga, Sara Duterte and BBM. I voted, personally, I believe in the continuity of Digong. Or I believe in continuity, period.
Good morning, I'm Mikey Oreta and you're watching Business 360 where we break down the numbers.
This week we saw the S&P 500 make a new historic high.
Connect the dots.
They withdrew from the World Health Organization.
And give you the developments and insights you need to navigate, adapt, and lead. Real Corporation is funding artificial intelligence and data science research at the University of the Philippines.
Business 360, hosted by Mikey Oreta.
Keep it here on BNC,
the Bilyonaryo News Channel.
I think there are still a very small fraction of our employees that think that they can get away with it. And that's being investigated. There are systems in place to identify some of our personnel are still engaged in this illicit activity. And if they're caught, they're being prosecuted and dismissed from the service. Most of it are being smuggled at the southern part of the Philippines where, of course, there are open seas. And it would be a little bit of a challenge for the Bureau to guard them. That's why we've worked with the Philippine Navy and the Philippine Coast Guard to guard our open waters because sophistication in smuggling activities of syndicates and other unscrupulous persons have pointed out to smuggling in the high seas already.
Every morning,
We won't mention who.
let's start your day right and laugh with fun. Join Paulo Del Rosario.
So excited to bring it all here for you.
Anne Asis-Carilo.
Always a pleasure sharing our mornings with you. Don't forget, wherever this day takes you, choose joy and spread kindness.
And Monique Guzon.
Your mornings are more fun with us. Join us in the next hour for stories and conversations that matter. Only here on
It's a Beautiful Day.
They are coming back in our area. Blackpink is officially returning this year with a world tour. The biggest girl group in the world posted a 22-second teaser for their highly anticipated comeback. No word yet on the tour stops and dates. Blackpink last visited the Philippines in 2023 for their Born Pink tour. Over the past year, its members have focused on solo projects. Jisoo, Lisa, and Jennie will release albums this first quarter, while Rosé dropped her own last December. Britain's Royal Mail, celebrating the 50th anniversary of AC/DC's debut album, High Voltage. They unveiled a stamp collection containing images of the rock band's album covers. It also features various photos of AC/DC performing. In releasing the stamps, Royal Mail commended the band's, quote, electrifying live shows, supercharged performances, and stadium-ready anthems that continue to set the bar for any self-respecting rock act.
I'm quite taken aback. I really don't know what to say. It's fabulous. I love this. It's good to see the fans again after the months off we've had, and I can't wait to go and see them again in the business end.
Now in sports, the Philippines is proving to be a Lakers nation after all. LeBron James's jersey is now the top selling in the country, according to the NBA store in the Philippines. Golden State Warriors star Steph Curry, who came in first last year, is now in second place. Coming in third is new Lakers point guard Luka Doncic and his former Dallas Mavericks jersey. As for overall merchandise sales, the Los Angeles Lakers still topping the list, while the Phoenix Suns made their debut at number 4. Looks like we won't see a reunion happening between Kevin Durant and the Warriors. ESPN reports Durant, who currently plays for the Phoenix Suns, apparently has no desire to play again for the Dubs. KD won 2 NBA titles and 2 Finals MVP honors with the Warriors. The 15-time All-Star is among Golden State's targets ahead of the target or trade deadline Thursday. The Warriors are determined to find another superstar player to partner with main man Steph Curry. Golden State is currently 10th in the West, while Phoenix is above at number 9. Now, speaking of the Warriors, the team is reportedly finalizing a trade for disgruntled Miami Heat star Jimmy Butler in exchange for Andrew Wiggins, Kyle Anderson, and a protected first-round pick. Butler is currently serving suspension for withholding services and conduct detrimental to the team. He hasn't played since January 21. The trade will also involve the Detroit Pistons and the Utah Jazz, where Warriors point guard Dennis Schroeder is headed. In other reported NBA deals, the Washington Wizards have traded Kyle Kuzma to the Milwaukee Bucks for Chris Middleton. Football superstar Cristiano Ronaldo gets a special birthday gift in New York. Fans gathered in Times Square to unveil a 12-foot bronze statue of the Portuguese icon for his 40th birthday. Its creator says it was built to pay tribute to Ronaldo's career and global influence.
Plus, there's been not too many statues of him around that are like. So it was time that somebody had to do something about it, some monumental thing. No Trump statue, no Elon Musk, I love you both, but I'd rather work on Cristiano Ronaldo.
Super Bowl mania is here, and we leave today with something to get NFL fans and animal lovers more pumped ahead of American football's grandest spectacle. Puppy Bowl is set to return for its 21st edition on Sunday, February 9. The annual 3-hour show will feature 142 rescue puppies from 80 shelters across 40 states and 2 countries. 11 dogs with special needs will also get to participate and showcase their pup-static spirit. The Puppy Bowl's mission is to inspire families to adopt their new fur babies and help animals find their forever homes. And those are the news this hour. I'm Anne Asis-Carilo, sitting in for Mai Rodriguez. Keep it here on the Bilyonaryo News Channel. Good afternoon.